Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into a really fascinating skill used by top-tier consulting firms. Pointing out that a project is failing? Well, that's the easy part. But firms like McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, they aren't paid millions just to spot problems. We're going to explore how they find out exactly why those problems are happening, and more importantly, exactly how to fix them for good.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're covering 1. Symptoms versus causes. 2. The 5 whys. 3. The fishbone framework. 4. Diagnosing technical ecosystems. And 5. The perfect problem statement.
Moving right along to Section 1, Symptoms versus Causes.
Right, so before we use any advanced frameworks, the absolute most critical rule of problem solving is separating what appears to be happening from what is truly causing it. This foundational toolkit is incredibly important. Why? Because businesses literally waste millions of dollars and thousands of hours treating recurring surface issues. On one side, we have symptoms. These are your surface-level issues reported by a client, things like low sales, high employee turnover, or project delays. But on the other side, we have root causes. These are the fundamental underlying drivers of that issue. Think about it. If you react only to symptoms, like launching a random marketing campaign just because you see a drop in sales, you're essentially just guessing. And an incorrect problem definition, well, that always leads to wasted, ineffective solutions.
Okay, Section 2, the 5 whys method.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how straightforward this tool is. Originating in industrial manufacturing, the 5 whys is a deceptively simple method that has been beautifully optimized for corporate strategy. Step 1 is to simply identify the clear symptom. Step 2 is asking why it's happening and documenting that answer. But you absolutely don't stop there. For Step 3, you drill down iteratively, typically about 5 times, asking why to each previous answer. This forces you down through the operational layers of a business until you hit a fundamental, actionable driver. Let's actually look at a real-world example to see this in action.
Picture this. You're working with a client who reports a very painful symptom. Their customer onboarding delays have suddenly spiked by 20%. Now, a knee-jerk reaction might be to look at that number and just blame the customers for being too slow. But let's apply the 5 whys and see what happens.
Tracing the logical cascade here, the symptom is that onboarding is delayed. Why? Because forms were submitted late. Okay, why were they late? Because customers found the application confusing. Right, why was it confusing? Because the portal had hidden required fields that weren't clearly flagged. Why weren't they flagged? Because the user experience was never properly tested. And finally, why wasn't it tested? Because product design decisions were made with absolutely no customer research. Just look at where we landed. The true root cause isn't that customers are slow. It's a fundamental lack of user research during design. So, fixing the form field solves the problem permanently without ever having to blame the customer. It's a total game changer.
Let's pivot to a macro commercial example. Imagine a stark 15% drop in quarter sales. That's the kind of metric that sends executives into a total panic, right? The immediate instinct is usually just to throw marketing dollars at the problem to drum up more sales. But how do we accurately diagnose this without just, guessing?
We walk through that downward drill again. Sales dropped by 15%. Why? Because fewer customers are buying due to product dissatisfaction. Why the dissatisfaction? Because quality control checks were reduced last quarter. Why are they reduced? Well, the QC team was severely understaffed. And why were they understaffed? Corporate budget cuts. Boom. The root cause wasn't a marketing failure at all. It was strategic budget cuts that accidentally crippled quality control capabilities. Throwing money in a new ad campaign would have been a complete waste. Restoring the QC budget? That's the actual cure.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds, the fishbone framework. The 5 whys is brilliant, for sure. But when problems cross multiple departments, a strictly linear approach just isn't enough. That's when we use the fishbone, also known as the Ishikawa diagram. It's a visual mapping tool used to analyze multiple contributing factors of complex problems simultaneously. Think of the structure exactly like its name implies. The main problem or symptom sits right at the head of the fish, while major categories of potential failure branch off the central spine.
And these branches aren't just random. In consulting, we look across standard structural pillars. We're talking people, process, technology, materials, environment, and measurement. This structure is absolutely powerful because it brilliantly externalizes organizational knowledge. It basically takes all the moving parts of the company, puts them on one page, and shows exactly how different variables are interacting to cause a systemic breakdown.
Moving into Section 4,
diagnosing technical ecosystems.
Let's see how scalable these tools are by applying them to a modern, complex software environment. Imagine leading a highly skilled data science project team, but you are plagued by this recurring symptom. Your predictive model delivery is consistently delayed by 3 weeks. That is our starting point. That is the exact pain the client is feeling right now.
Let's trace the 5 whys path for this technical issue. The delivery is delayed. Why? The data cleaning phase is taking way too long. Why? Because the data received from the client is incomplete. Why is it incomplete? The client's collection process lacks standardization. Why? Because there was no documentation on requirements. And why was there no documentation? Because the project kickoff completely skipped detailed stakeholder alignment and data governance discussions. See how that works? Skipping that vital alignment at the start causes total chaos downstream.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when we combine our frameworks. If we take those answers and map them onto the fishbone pillars, we instantly diagnose an entire ecosystem's multidimensional failure. We uncover a people issue driven by poor cross-team communication, a process failure due to no validation standards, a technology mismatch caused by outdated legacy systems, and a measurement gap because there was no pre-launch data quality tracking. We didn't just find one isolated problem. We literally mapped the failure of the entire ecosystem.
Section 5. The perfect problem statement. So once your root causes are uncovered, they have to be crystallized into a definitive, unambiguous prescription. We call this the perfect problem statement. A truly great statement details the issue and cause. Data science model delivery delayed 3 weeks due to incomplete data and poor cross-team communication. It explicitly details the scope and impact. Impacts project costs, timelines, and client satisfaction. And crucially, it defines the success criteria. Reduce delays to less than 1 week within the next 2 project cycles. Notice how explicitly detailing the issue, scope, impact, and target metric completely removes all ambiguity from the solution. Everyone knows exactly what is broken, and more importantly, exactly what success looks like.
Almost done! Section 6. Let's do a quick interactive review exercise.
To make sure we're actively retaining these high-impact frameworks, let's do a quick concept checkup. First question for you. What categories are commonly used in a fishbone diagram? I'll give you just a brief second to think about the spine of that diagram. Got it? The standard pillars are people, process, technology, materials, environment, and measurement.
Now for concept checkup 2. This is a really crucial synthetic question. What is the main purpose of combining the 5 whys and fishbone diagrams? Why do we use both of these together in management consulting?
So the crucial point is this. We combine them to ensure a highly rigorous problem diagnosis and to build bulletproof credibility for high-impact recommendations. Honestly, this credibility is the magic ingredient. It's exactly what transforms a simple workplace observation into a powerful multi-million-dollar consulting recommendation that clients actually trust and implement.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, provocative summary. Separate symptoms from causes, apply structured tools, and define the scope and success metrics. By mastering this flow, you move past surface guessing and you start targeting real organizational drivers. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Head down to the comments and let me know exactly how you plan to apply the 5 whys to your own workflow or systemic business problems this week. Keep questioning, keep structuring, and I will see you in our next deep dive.